So grounded in Runeterra, why the Riot MMO should keep its feet on the ground. And I really think that's the way to go. I know flying mounts are cool. The idea always seems cool. I literally put Shyvana here because you know, she can fly. She's a dragon. Why can't we? It just seems like it introduces a lot of things that make it add a lot of complexity to the MMO, especially when it comes to traversal, when you add in flying. And I don't think it's actually needed. Unless you're going to do something crazy with it, like aerial combat, what's the point, you know? It's a traversal decision that will define a world. This is the only tweet I've ever seen, really, from the Riot MMO team. Apparently, this is the Riot MMO team behind her. Just so energized to be at Riot Games HQ with the whole MMO team today. Can't say enough how much I love this project and these folks. And so, you can see that tweet in the article. Among the colossal tasks facing Riot Games is creating its highly anticipated MMORPG. One choice is uniquely foundational: how players will move through Runeterra. The Siren's Call. The Siren's Call of convenience, how flying broke the world. Because it's always convenience. That's where flying comes in. I feel like even in World of Warcraft, flying is just a convenience thing now. Dragonflight, they definitely did something different with it, with the Dragonriding, but it just made flying even faster. It made the world feel even smaller. The Siren's Call of convenience. But that was really creative, because like the siren calls you, but it's really calling you to your doom, but it sounds like nice and sweet on the surface. Introduction of flying mounts to the mainstream MMO landscape, primarily through World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade, was met with near universal acclaim. And this is actually the trailer. I'll play this for you guys. Let's see. Prepare to take flight. And by the way, when flying came out, I'm sure it was really cool. It was like, you know, look at this. You're crossing into freaking, you're using it to get to a different raid. This was a raid back in Burning Crusade, and you're using flying mounts to get there. So they already thought of, and the thing about Burning Crusade, the actual world of Burning Crusade. So like map of Burning Crusade. The Burning Crusade itself, Outland, that's what it's called. Outland map. It was designed with flying in mind. Like that raid was designed with flying in mind. The problem is that the rest of the world wasn't. And then I'd say Northrend was designed with flying in mind, but it's like the rest of the world wasn't designed with it in mind. And then plus Outland, you got to explore the whole world. I feel like that's where the achievement came from later, that you explored the whole world in Outland on foot, and then you got flying later as convenience. The problem with it is that people didn't have flying at the start, so it wasn't like they lost anything. Post Outland, they already had flying, and so then they tried to like take it away and give it back, and that's where the problem ensues, where it's like flying is great, it's cool, definitely like it'll draw in a lot of people, and Burning Crusade flying was a big deal, but once you have it, you can't close it back in its box. It was important as a reward, offering breathtaking new perspective and unparalleled convenience. Yet beneath this exhilarating freedom, a series of profound and damaging consequences began to take root, fundamentally altering the relationship between the player and the virtual world. Flying does change everything. The shrinking of the world. The most immediate effect of unrestricted flight was a dramatic shrinking of the game world. MMOs are designed to feel vast, a sense of scale created by terrain, impassable mountains, widening canyons, and hostile territories. So you can see, I included these two videos. You can see like this is vanilla World of Warcraft, someone just playing. Oh my god, I can't handle ASMR, but at least it's just them playing. You can see, you know, the world feels pretty big, like they're in this little wooded area fighting bandits. It feels like it takes a while to travel anywhere. I want to get a section of them just running. Yeah, like even just running around this little farmstead feels pretty big, you know? Like she's all the way in this corner of the farm. You have to go to the other side, and that's just like a little square. You can see her running. Yeah, like she's just running around this little area within. Wow, they're gonna die. Yeah, running inside this you know, building structure, whatever. It just feels bigger than running around outside, all that stuff. Okay, but then you get into Dragonflight, and this is the same, just a random video. These are just random videos that I found. I just Googled literally like someone questing in Classic, then I Googled someone questing in Dragonflight, and this is what came up. You can see in this video, this person here, like this.
I was ordered to leave
right when he comes outside, mounts up.
Undisturbed. I was the last remaining gravekeeper after that.
Like skips that whole
Given
section.
the task to update all
Skips
the
that whole
graves
section.
before we departed.
Really going wherever he wants, right? You can see the difference in traversal. Like this guy doesn't have to really travel anywhere. It's just kind of like point A, point B. You get my point. This guy just pretty much flies anywhere and skips like the whole terrain, everything that he has to go through to get to any place on the map. Traditional flying mounts negate this entirely by allowing a player to ascend to a safe altitude and travel in a straight line, a practice known as beelining. All geographical obstacles become irrelevant. A treacherous mountain range that was once a journey becomes a minor inconvenience to fly over. The world ceases to be a place to inhabit and instead becomes a two-dimensional map to be crossed as efficiently as possible. Like, you can just compare them. I mean, this person's running around having to avoid obstacles like, okay, I need to get over here. These mobs are this way. How do I get around them? Do I want to fight these mobs? And then this person's just flying between locations. It completely destroys like the path, the journey, the death of the journey. A well-designed MMO, the space between point A and point B is not dead air. It's where the unscripted, organic life of the game happens. This is where a player might stumble upon a rare creature, discover a hidden cave, or witness a faction skirmish. The journey is the connective tissue of the world. I was looking at this image just from Legends of Runeterra. It's called the Salt Spire. And I imagine this person who was running between locations and he saw this salt spire that he wanted to mine, and he starts mining it, and there just happens to be this creature inside the salt spire that he's unsuspecting of. If this had flying, he would have completely skipped this entirely. Would have just flew over it, would have never even seen the salt spire. And so that's the kind of stuff that I really feel like gets lost. Flying excises the tissue with surgical precision. The journey is reduced to a loading screen, and by loading screen here I mean like the flying is pretty much just a loading screen. You don't see the bar, but it is just a loading screen. You're just seeing your character fly for a little bit. There's no chance encounters 500 feet in the air, no danger and no discovery. As one player noted with flying mounts, you just fly your way to your destination on your own without anything happening. Anything. And that's just some Reddit post for Ashes of Creation. Flying mounts also trivialize the content within the world. Level designers use terrain to create challenges like an enemy fortress intended to be a gauntlet. So I always think of like the Xerxai territory. This is Xerxai hatchlings. If we go to the map of Runeterra. So for example, let's say that you want to get to, you're in Shurima and you want to get to Acathia. Well, to get to Acathia, you got to go through the Saikahlik, which is full of Xerxai, which are these things. You know, they're loyal to Rek'Sai. They're basically her children. A bunch of void-born creatures. With flying, you'll fly over the Saikahlik and then go drop in wherever you want. You can drop in all the way in this corner of Acathia, whatever. Without flying, you'll have to go through the Saikahlik and then, battle through like these little creatures first. These Xerxai hatchlings or whatever, try to sneak through if you can. Try to avoid fights, whatever, you and your team, but then, you might get stuck, right? Look at these people. That looks like a journey to me. And then people will say, oh, but you can negate flying at the launch of expansion, but you can't take something away once it's there. For example, like you can't say, oh, you can fly everywhere, but then when you come here, there's like these webs that go up and they shoot you down. So now you can't fly to the void area. It's like, yeah, but then people are just going to get annoyed with the void area. They're going to get annoyed with Acathia because at that point, you're losing something. With flying mounts, the entire sequence is bypassed. The player can simply fly over the walls, land on the quest objective, and fly away. This creates a significant design debt, forcing developers to either accept that their ground level content will be ignored or create artificial no-fly zones. I think that's like the worst solution you can come up with. The erosion of the social fabric. The most devastating consequence of traditional flying is the damage it inflicts on the social ecosystem. An MMO's core is the massively multiplayer aspect, the idea of sharing a world with thousands of others. Traditional flight is a powerful agent of atomization, isolating players from one another. So you can see like this is South Shore versus Terran Mill, the close proximity of the Alliance town of South Shore and the Horde town of Terran Mill, connected by the road in the Hillsbrad foothills, made the area a natural hotspot for these large-scale battles. You can see the map at the start of this video. That's South Shore. You can see Terran Mill up at the top right. That's the Horde area. And just because they're so close to each other, it naturally resulted in a lot of conflicts. Like an Alliance player would be questing, a Horde player would kill them, their buddy would come in to defend them, and then it would just kind of escalate from there. And that's why these large-scale battles kept happening here. And that's because people were interacting with the world, running around, questing. I guarantee you if that Alliance person could fly, they would just hop on their mount, go to the next quest. Hop on their mount, go to the next quest, and then they'd never interact. What about having a sky region that is the only place you can fly, and you need to fly to get around? Think of Skyopia from One Piece, man. Skyopia was an awesome like season for One Piece. I loved when he punched the mortal dragon. That was like, I actually got hype. I stood up. But here's what I'll say about that is that losing something never feels good. Having something is cool for the time, but losing it never feels good. A bunch of teams always try to do that where like, oh, you have flying in these areas, or you only have flying. I don't know if there's one where you can only fly in this area, but there's a lot of you can't fly until like the end of the expansion with an achievement, Pathfinder or whatever. The problem is that losing it sucks, and then you'll want it everywhere. If they give it to you in one area, like, oh, you can fly anywhere in Shurima, but you can't fly anywhere else, people are going to be like, I wish I could just fly everywhere else. It's something that you're going to feel like you're missing from the rest of the world. Like, it has to be one way or the other. You either get flying or you don't. If you're going to do flying, the whole world has to be built around flying. And if you build the whole world around flying, then the ground content gets kind of eroded away because it's not as important. Is that retail? What's retail? This is classic WoW. But yeah, WoW, this is definitely like retail, them playing. If you look up like an original video of classic WoW, it'll be in like freaking 260p. But yeah, these are people fighting in South Shore and Terra Mill in retail. I mean, well, is it retail? It's classic WoW retail, right? It's not like the original classic WoW. But yeah, these interactions don't happen anymore. When players are on the ground, their paths intersect. They meet at crossroads and fight over the same quest mobs. This proximity is the seed of all social interaction. Flying shatters this shared context. A player high in the sky is in a private instance, invisible to those below. The 3D space of the sky is exceptionally larger than the 2D space on the ground, diluting the player base and making random encounters statistically improbable. This is particularly ruinous for world PvP, which relies on contested territory. Flying provides a near perfect escape mechanism, killing the spontaneity of open world conflict. You can see this person. This person's mining. And look, he's not interacting with the world at all. He's flying, mines, boom, gone. Like, this guy's, there's no way he's going to interact with anyone on this journey at all. Like, he's not going to encounter an alliance player. They're not going to cross paths. I mean, this is probably BC post, like, well, this is well post the expansion, right? So this is like, you know, well after it. And he's just flying around mining. I don't know if this is classic or retail. It looks like retail to me. And he's just went back to BC. Maybe it's classic Burning Crusade. Actually, it might be. No, the bags are too big. I'm not sure. Either way, he's not interacting with anyone. You can see the individual just flying between nodes. They're not required to interact with the world. They're just flying. As former Riot MMO executive producer Greg Ghostcaller Street stated, if you want to play a game with a community, with friends, then play an MMO. This is his tweet. He said this will be vague because someone asked, here's MMO, what you and your team's philosophy is to approaching grouping for group content. I always found that not having instant queuing random group finders is healthier for the game as it forces the creation of guilds and creates a sense of community. This was a great question. This is vague, but our philosophy is if you want to play a single player game, there are great ones out there. Horizon, GOW, Persona. Shout out to Pathfinder and WOTR. If you want to play a game with a community, with friends, then play our MMO. And there's a case study here for World of Warcraft, which is decades-long struggle with the skies. No game offers a more comprehensive history of MMO traversal design than World of Warcraft. Its journey is a microcosm of the entire genre's grappling with flight, providing a complete arc, a story of the problem, a failed solution, and a successful resolution that contains the most critical lessons for Riot games. You can see some of the flying mounts there. Pathfinder problem, a cure worse than a disease. I really believe that. By the Warlords of Draenor expansion, Blizzard realized that unfettered flying was harming their game. They didn't introduce Pathfinder for no reason. Knowing that simply removing it would cause backlash, they chose to gate it behind a complex meta achievement, Pathfinder. This compromise became one of the most resented systems in the game's history. This is Pathfinder, which is basically like a series of achievements that you have to get before you can actually fly. So let's say that, I mean, the map of Runeterra comes out, the Shurima expansion comes out. We start out in Noxus and Demacia, Shurima comes out. When Shurima comes out, you can't fly. You can still fly in Noxus and Demacia, but Shurima's the new expansion, you're not allowed to fly there. And once you have these achievements unlocked, like completing the raid, completing all these quests, completing the story, exploring the map, then you unlock flying and suddenly you can fly. That's what Pathfinder is. To unlock flight, players were required to complete sprawling checklists spanning months, including exploring every zone, completing all major quests, finishing hundreds of world quests, and grinding multiple faction reputations to revered. The player backlash was fierce. The community saw Pathfinder not as a rewarding journey, but a cynical chore designed to artificially inflate engagement metrics by forcing them through tedious, time-gated grinds. The lesson was clear. Players will reject systems that feel designed to waste their time rather than enhance their experience, which is what this was. Like, you got to think, if flying is in the game, you're locking me out of flying just because, you know, you want me to explore the ground content. But what if I just want to go fast? That's really the logic there. What if I just want to go fast? What's the point? Why am I being gatekept behind Pathfinder? I just want Howling Abyss Battleground and can go to the bridge in the world. That's going to happen. I mean, the Howling Abyss is one of the most important locations in the Riot, in Runeterra. The Howling Abyss will actually absolutely be a raid in the MMO. It's gonna, I hope they do it justice, and it's literally just the scariest thing ever. I want to hear like the sounds of ice. What do they call it? Let me play this for you guys. What do they call ice when it's like those deep echoing ice sounds? Deep. It's like, it's not like ice. Let me see. Yeah, that. You guys hear that? But I want it to be like, man, it's like a scary sound. Yeah, see, not that. It's definitely this. This is closer to what I'm talking about. I don't know the name of them. First time I've heard fishing. Yeah, this one sounds too much like an intergalactic battle plan. I promise you there's like a scarier version of it. They're called like reverbs or something like that. Ice reverbs? Yeah, I don't know. If someone thinks of the name, let me know. But that's what I'm talking about. Those sounds are so terrifying. I want to hear those, and I want to feel the silence and feel the pressure of the eyes watching me. MMO, tedious, time-gated grinds. Sounds exactly like Genshin. Man, you guys hate Genshin. I might just have to play Genshin so I can relate. Just make the flying as quick as ground mount speed. Both should not be very quick unless the map is huge. Yeah, but the problem with flying isn't just the speed. The problem with flying is that you don't interact with the world anymore. Like, even if flying is the same speed as running, it'll still be the faster alternative because you won't have to interact. Like, this person they're running between point A and point B versus this person that just flies wherever they need to go. They don't interact with the world anymore, especially even like Dragonriding. Like, this person just doesn't, there's no reason to interact. Like, you just skipped this whole content over here on the left and flew over here. You get what I'm saying? That's the main problem. It's not like that you miss out on all the interaction in between. The good stuff. I feel like that's the good stuff in MMO. The stuff that you're not expecting. The Dragonflight solution was making the journey the destination. With Dragonflight expansion, Blizzard rebooted this philosophy on aerial traversal. Dragonriding was not a passive convenience, but a core skill-based gameplay. So, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Dragonriding is cool. They definitely did a good job, I think, with Dragonriding. If you're gonna have flying, it needs to be something like that, where it's interactable and something that you're actually doing. Dragonriding is a physics-based system built on momentum and gravity. Players actively manage and regarding their resources called vigor to use abilities like skyward ascent for height. So it's cool. It's like it has abilities and you drag and ride around. It's definitely way better than passive flying. You can see this guy doing some of like your standard flying up here. This is like the standard flying. It's just, I mean, he sped it up, but it's very one directional. It's like you're swimming in the air. Compared to this where you're like managing vigor and building up speed. The reception was definitely positive. It solved the problems of traditional flight. It made the world's vastness a central part of the mechanical instead of shrinking it. The success proves that the enemy of a healthy MMO world is not flight itself, but the trivial flight. However, this did not solve the problem of players not interacting with the journey. It actually exacerbated it. With the faster travel, it made the old world feel even smaller than it already did. So what blueprints do we got from all of this for a better journey, lessons from other worlds? While World of Warcraft's evolution provides a powerful narrative, Riot can also draw upon the elegant solutions developed by its competitors. Final Fantasy and Guild Wars 2 offer compelling models that move beyond the simple binary of flight versus no flight. Final Fantasy offers successful middle ground. Flight is unlocked on a zone-by-zone basis through Aether current system. That's the same. It's really the same as Pathfinder. It suffers from the same problems. Guild Wars 2, I already said that it's a problem. Like, you can't take something away. They do the same thing in Final Fantasy. Having flying and having it lost in like a new expansion is painful. Guild Wars 2, I think does a way better job. This is what I think the solution should be. It rejects the one-size-fits-all mount in favor of a stable, specialized mounts, each functioning as a unique tool for a specific navigational puzzle. The tool for every job approach makes traversal an engaging, choice-driven experience. The Raptor leaps wide chasms. I think Guild Wars 2 does the best job with mounts. You don't need flying. If you do this, you can definitely have like a bunch of unique mounts, and each does different things based on what it is. Like the Raptor leaps over currents, the Springer scales sheer cliffs, the Skimmer glides over water, and there's stuff like that in World of Warcraft. There's literally a skimmer in World of Warcraft that goes over water. Guild Wars 2 takes it 5-10 steps further, with a ton of mounts being like unique traversal tools. The environment itself becomes meaningful content, and travel becomes an interactive puzzle within the framework. Flight is an aspirational late game achievement. The 2 flying mounts, the Griffin and the Skyscale, require significant investment to unlock and do not render ground mounts obsolete, because flying is still not the best mode of travel. So if you're going to do flying, I think Guild Wars 2 is the best option. I would just forego the flying altogether, though. I don't think it's needed. So this is just my comparative analysis. This is basically my notes made into a table for you guys if you'd rather just read through that. Riot's most prominent corporate values be player first. The case study of World of Warcraft's Pathfinder system is a stark warning of what happens when the principle is violated. A truly player first approach would reject such a friction based model in favor of one that's inherently rewarding, as seen in Dragonflight and Guild Wars 2. Furthermore, the early version of the Riot MMO is explicitly group-minded and built for community. Traditional flying dissolves the social fabric. To build a world that fosters community, the design must not actively discourage players from sharing the same space. A ground-based world is a shared world. Finally, Riot's greatest advantage is that its position in time. Unlike Blizzard, which must contend with legacy decisions from a game launched in 2004, Riot is starting with a blank slate. They have the benefit of hindsight, able to analyze the genre's history without being trapped by it. To ignore these lessons would be willfully discard the hard-won knowledge of an entire industry. So my recommendation for forging a path forward for Runeterra, based on the history that we already have, is that for Riot Games to fulfill its promise of a vibrant, socially driven world, its MMO should launch with no traditional point-to-point flying mounts. This is not a call for a more restrictive game, but a recommendation to embrace a modern, engaging design philosophy. The alternative is a world where travel itself is a core part of the adventure. Look at all these people on their mounts. Look at all these people on their mounts. They look great. They look great. The vision can be realized by synthesizing the best ideas the genre has to offer. I definitely think the Guild Wars 2 model with the mounts having different effects is great. I think Dragonflight did a great job with the mount traversal. Like, riding your mount isn't just the same thing. Zelda Breath of the Wild does it too. With your mount, like you have, I forgot what it's called. Zelda. Yeah, he's got like those kicks, the spurs. And it's like energy kind of thing. It makes the riding, it should be enjoyable. It shouldn't just be, you know, like running. Riding a mount should be an experience in all of itself, a whole system around it. He can soothe the horse. Yeah, he's not really using it. There he goes. He's about to use it. Yeah, see, it makes it go faster. He's got 3 of them. It just makes you have to think a little bit more. It's not just you're riding. Integrating the social world. The ultimate purpose of a grounded, engaging traversal system is to serve the MMO's social pillar. That's what the whole point of everything should be served, to serve the social pillar of the MMO. Keeping players primarily on the ground increases player density and the frequency of organic encounters. It makes the world feel more alive and shared, creating the conditions for a spontaneous community. Stories that define memorable MMO experiences. I think that's the end of it. Yeah, ultimate decision choice between 2 futures. One offers a world of convenience where the landscape is a skippable obstacle and players are isolated dots on the map. The other offers a world that is a place of vibrant, cohesive environment that players must master together. It is a choice between a sterile lobby and a living world. For an MMO that aspires to endure for decades, the choice should be clear. Keep players grounded in Runeterra, and the game itself will have a chance to truly soar. And I know I've seen flying in Runeterra already. So like, there's that one trailer. Like, Demacians do fly. I'm not gonna say that they don't. Okay, we've already seen flying mounts in Runeterra. Yeah, so these are Demacians. That's Cythria Cloudfield. I think she'll be in the MMO. Demacians on their mounts, and then you can see, yeah. So you do see there's already flying mounts. Demacians have flying mounts. Demacians fly the raptors and stuff. So it's not like it's not already there. I just don't think that it should be included in MMO. It can be done, Demacian raptors. Native to high crags, raptors are voracious predators. Nevertheless, rare individuals have been known to forge such a bond with these creatures that the raptor may permit itself to be ridden. These riders serve in the Demacian military, scouting and harassing the enemy lines. They look cool. Yeah, so there already are, for sure. It's just, I don't think it's needed in MMO.